your tasks up. Do that. I'm trying to actually make a task list. One. Work on the rest of the list. I would put in how.
Number two there. That's how I feel. Is that it should be.
You just merge 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I feel like to work with some of our.
That's all. I'll be right number 3.
So you guys don't mind if I start?
No.
All right. Welcome everyone to this week's creative session of concept art drawing with me, Jeff, here at Stitch Media as we work on Terrorarium. What you see on screen is just some some work from last week. I went ahead and colored it. I'm not super happy at all with the way it turned out, but I tried to rework it again a little bit this morning. Still not happy with it, but just want to at least showcase what it looked like. So just to give you a refresher, this is what this is how it ended up last week. If I click the layers, there we go. So this is the line work from last week. It was a bit of a trollish type guy. Midway through, I quite realized that it looked a little more reptilian than I expected, and that I really wanted to pull back and kind of bring back that plant-esque type features that these creatures should have. You know, because again, the concept is we're creating these bosses to capture, and they are all kind of plants. So this guy, while fun to work on, I think the illustration itself turned out quite nice. It was kind of off in terms of what we actually wanted from the illustration. So again, if I were to tackle this, and I'm not sure if I will anytime soon, but I do have again some other some adjustment sketches somewhere in the background hidden of what I plan to do with it to make him more usable in the sense of like for our game. But for now, I just want to show you, a refresher of what it was, what work occurred last week, and kind of the progression I made, adding some color to it. So that's where it can ended up. It's fine, just not happy with it in comparison to like some of the other guys that I did earlier. So yeah, so that's just a quick refresh of that. I'm going to show you what I'm going to be working on this week, which is our main character. And it's kind of like a split role. In our game, there's a main character, the gardener, who goes around controlling the Mugu, who are these little, mushroom guys at the moment. You're telepathically or in some other manner controlling these Mugu, and and they are much like her tool set, as in like they have different abilities, and you control them. You tell them where to go and what to become, and they are the ones that kind of help you explore the world, different worlds actually, and in the end help you kind of subdue the bosses that you're supposed to capture. So this is what I've been working on today, and it was just a whole bunch of just rough shapes, outlines of her. Uh, Actually, I should show you what the current iteration of she looks like right now, and it's the furthest I've gotten, and this was kind of quite a while ago. Was this look? Um, right here on the top right, you'll see that she has her boots, her gardening gloves, a backpack, some tied up mugu, um, and a whole assorted parts of you'll see in her backpack just some plant monsters or bits of plants that she's captured and she's stuffed in her bag. So that's the current iteration. I think it's fine. I think it's cute. Uh, some things have changed. I'm not so sure if when she ingests the so-called reagent, which is what she uses to control the Mugu, uh, on how that works. Right now, we're just working on the game design, and things are shifting back and forth into like how things work. So right now, it's kind of in flux in whether she needs to be semi-transparent. So when she adjusts these things, if she adjusts these things, do you see them going through her body? So right now, it's not really clear whether or not if she needs to have this transparent body. I think it does look cool, but it's might lead into some difficult game art decisions when it comes to it. Uh, so that was one. That's the latest version. These are sketches of some older versions of her. Again, these ones you see, she's a little more. She looks a bit slower, um, and the later designs were definitely made to make her look like she's a bit more spry, as it were. She's going through these levels. She's going controlling these movements, but they're not. She's not like a very slow moving character herself. So I redesigned her just to reflect that. And so what I was working on earlier today was just outlines. And again, these are very, very, very simple shapes, as it were, just to work as low uh, with as with as little detail as possible, but just enough to capture some details, like what do I like about the proportions of the body? Does that seem right? The angles of the body, is that right? And so it's a bit of mix between just simple lines and slightly rougher details. So as you'll see, in the top row, there's very little details that you can probably make out. As in, like, okay, in the first one, top left, I felt that her body was a little too tall and angular and spry for the grandmother look that I was going for. I didn't quite like. I tried picking on some chicken legs on the third on the top row. Didn't like that either. Uh, did want to bring back her giant backpack, and so you see that on here in the second row, last one. Again, working with shapes on the bottom row, and just by doing these quick little drawings, uh, they do offer some kind of help and little details that I do find like, oh, something's working, even though it just might be a few strokes. So here on the bottom row, the first one I like that, bringing back her walking stick, but a larger version of it. And I did kind of like her body shape in this one. It's almost like a potato with smaller legs. Here in the third drawing of the bottom row, uh, you know, put a hood on her, but also very quickly just put on this kind of cape to her that just kind of fell down to her knees and just kind of enveloped her whole body. I kind of liked where that was going, so I kind of carried that forward, um, something like that. So that was kind of, I was thinking, okay, something like this can work if this is wrapped around her body, rather than her just wearing. Oh, now that she might not be semi-transparent, she has a bit more clothing to work with. So here I was just kind of bringing some little detail. Since a bit of the look is going to be low poly, I didn't want to over design her and make her clothing too detailed, but I think putting some patterns in there, especially because she is the main character, would be beneficial. And with these patterns, I kind of shape wise figured using shapes of leaves or any kind of would help quite a bit. So those are just small details I figured I'd bring forward. Here are just some, larger body shape styles, playing with like what works with her. And so this kind of slightly softer body type works well. There, she also had a sun hat on. Here's just like another. I was exploring again, just hairstyles for her. Here's another few passes and just getting some quick outlines. What came out of this one, this set, was here the last one on the second row. I really liked. Oh, if I'm going to put some kind of clothing on her, want to use something that leaves, like a group of leaves, to really kind of that form her cape, her kind of cowl that she's wearing, and carry that forward from each iteration from then on, because I like that idea, and I thought it worked with her, thematically. It works with her being this kind of explorer that just kind of needs some kind of clothing to protect her from the environment. So I brought that into future designs, and where I am now is with this row. Here again, I was playing with just the shape of her body. I do like the ones on either end of this row, just because I think going with a thicker body or torso just kind of dominates a little too much. And I still want to make her look like she's this world explorer. So I've given her gloves back, her arms, just emphasize her her hands, just so when we get to the animation stage, that's something that she can that can be emphasized, is just her digits itself. Another point of detail was we're working through how does she control Mugu? Is it some kind of mind control? How is she communicating with them? Uh, just there been talks of like light bulbs and whatnot, so that kind of light up and you kind of indicate on the path where they go. So that's just a show you a rough indication of these, what I've been working on uh, earlier today. So my next step, now that I got through a whole bunch of roughs, and I've kind of found some more ideas that are been updated since the latest iteration. Uh, I've kind of come across a couple that I'm really happy with, and I think this last one on the top right here is one that I think I feel comfortable with now progressing into a more detailed version of the illustration. So that's what I'll be working on today. Again, it might not be up to the level of detail that I did last week or the week before, uh, but it's worth, I think just the shapes alone is just worth exploring. So what I've just gone ahead and done is kind of copied it and enlarged it so I have a bit more room to work with. Just gonna go ahead, bring it down, and yeah, just kind of work away. I probably won't be using an inking brush for those crisp lines like I normally do. I think I do want to pick a brush that's a little rougher to remind myself that this is still a rough stage and I shouldn't really be too concerned with all the details, but my natural habit is to add in. So we'll see how this goes. Um, so let's see how this goes. You don't mind if I place, well, you're not gonna hear it. I'm gonna play some music for myself. If you're wondering if I have earrings in, don't have earrings in, they're just my earbuds. All right, so for the next, spend some time talking, so maybe for the next 45, 50 minutes, I'll just be working away at this version. Maybe do a few quicker ones, rework it until I find something that's really, that I find just really hits the spot. So. So one thing that I do have to get over is kind of like that temptation to make everything perfect and make sure that I get everything correct. Here, whether it be like shape of her head, how, you know, and that could just be as simple as, you know, does does the shape of the head and the level of where the eyes are, does it make her appear too youthful, like a baby's head, where the proportions between like the head, the nose, the mouth, the chin, the forehead, where that lies. Uh, it's preferable if I don't get caught up in all that right now because it's just about capturing um, uh, what is just the essence of her. Uh, but sometimes it's just something hard to fight against here when you've been drawing a certain way for a number of years. Um, Already, I'm coming up with my first little question myself is as in like, uh, I've drawn the outline of it, and here you see some, you can't see my, my fingers, but over here, that is somewhat like the cape cloak thing that I added to some of the other illustrations. Now I didn't quite leave enough room on this one to make it work, but I gotta remind myself like, well, what body type is she, and how can I make it work and still make that thing visible? I still like the idea of her wearing boots, like of her really getting into being prepared for rough terrain. Again, just very, very roughly, not too worried right now. Um, Shape of her, but I do want to stick in that cape while I can. So, how's her work around back? This starting there. Those over her shoulders. Actually, I'm grabbing her. That's okay. Right now, those are her running gloves. And actually, this how I drew this was her walking. It was coming out. Well, she carries a big stick, at least in here, in this version. Um, Here we go. Look, kind of wrap around it. Wanted. I look back into one of my earlier illustrations, maybe this one, where the idea first came out. Second row, third column, third one. Where it almost looked like a bunch of feathers on her. There are leaves, but also kind of wanted a frill happening, happens around her neck. And so you see that in this version here, it's like a two-part cloak. It's one just wraps around her neck. It's a bit looser, it's a bit more tousled. And then this was the pattern version versus the feathered version. I'm not sure what I like more, whether the actual feathers be sticking out on the lower part, or it's nice and smooth and it just uses a pattern. Let's see. I'm going to edit what I just did here and have the neck frills stand out a bit. So right now it does look like feathers, but hopefully when color is added, it does resemble leaves a bit more. Because again, she is not a plant herself. She is more like another alien creature of unknown origin, capturing plants. But I want to kind of make it a theme even for her, in her attire, that, you know, not only does she capture them, she kind of mimics them in ways. So in her attire, you might see, some of her costume, you might see some elements of plants. Fix this so it kind of looks like hanging. And then look over her elbow. A little turtle-like, but for now. Um, what is she doing with her arm? Our go-to is usually like making characters just hold move because they're just it's just a little funny just to see for them to be the easiest thing just to kind of dominate is this tiny little creature that you can hold in your hands. Maybe I will. I will take up my hand. So I really liked her thicker arms from 4. You'll see it in this type of illustration. You know, thicker at the elbows and small little fingers. Um, I think while I like that design, it's harder to read when your character is also going to be small on screen and you can't really even make out her hands. So just making her hands an emphasis in this version helps quite a bit. You can actually see that when the actual 3D model is made and characters walking around and throwing things and interacting in the world. Making sure that the viewer can actually read that, I think is important, rather than just making something cute in an illustration that can't be seen later on within the actual game. Adjusting that now when they can. Uh, Another problem actually was if I put this cape on, does she have a backpack anymore? um, I should probably hand it out away from just looking at the screen right now, seeing how massive my hand looks when it's close to the camera. Anyways, I was talking about like if she's wearing this cape, can she still have the backpack? Uh, Again, I think we're still at that phase of figuring things out and whether or not uh, I need to include a backpack if she pulls out objects from the backpack. Uh, you know, if it's necessary or not. So, um, and how does it work if I decide to keep both this new kind of cape that's happening along with a backpack? How does it strap around or does it disappear? Do I gotta overthink things? Uh, I do like the idea of having this giant backpack. And just looking at it's just so fun, even when a character is like that small on screen. Having this giant bag full of her stuff is just always such an interesting visual that I think it's, you know, while it might not be used as much in this iteration of the game, I think it's still worth including. So, actually, let me do her hair first. Another aspect of her, which has to be thought out, you know, what kind of hairstyle? It's surprising just how much uh, a hairstyle impacts the personality of a character, and you know, I want to give her a style that is both, you know, somewhat. It's like she is a woman that's really constantly out there, and and she's she's tying it up because she doesn't want her way. Just like if she's going out for a run, uh, she knows how to keep it out of the way. Yeah, at the same time, not make it too modern or look like it's more suited to a younger type character. So thinking of throwback kind of styles is something that I've been kind of thinking about and researching a little. Um, so this is one type, you know, just having this kind of curled up uh, hair that's just hanging on top of her forehead is one kind of look that I've kind of like and kind of feels like it suits her. And then at the same time, she still maintains this kind of bun. Uh, I think I've kind of used everything about the initial sketch that I need. So this is what it looks like right now. Don't know where the mouth is, don't know what her nose looks like. Yeah, it's one of those things of how human does she need to be? And that means like the placement of the nose. How big is her nose? Um, you know, placing it just where a human's would be, even in this kind of stylistic manner, does just kind of really makes impression that this is a human character versus somewhat more non-human. Uh, like even the shape of it just changes who this person is. So again, tiny nose, tiny mouth, larger nose, tiny mouth, larger nose, big mouth. I don't know. I think it's yeah, it's I guess it's really up to me for classic up two. It is a classic up two. It kind of needs to be classic and yet appropriate for exploring. I guess just kind of out of the way. Uh, the downside is if I wanted to put something that almost feel that she needs, kind of like a hat, then I can't really have that updo kind of look. So like again, something like this. If she's wearing like I don't know if it's called the summer hat or whatever it is, but that kind of hat that fully shades your face. And you're just being a little too overprotective with by your face and the sun. Um, this is all I almost feel is very appropriate for the character, but at the same time, uh, kind of discourages um, being able to use her hair as a way to show her personality. Like, if this is a hat, it might come across. Add these colors. Um, this was her hat. It would might come across at your face like that. Here, or here, like that. I don't know. Doesn't leave much room. She has a hat on, or really playing with your hair on this side. I don't know. So again, that's something that I will be playing around with later. But at least for this iteration, what would you have to? I can't go back. Remove her nose. And we'll keep the nose that big and see if that works. Maybe slightly smaller. Um, didn't really think about her clothes, her garments under her cape though. It looks like she's just wearing a onesie. I don't know. I haven't thought about that right now. Didn't think that far ahead. What would a gardener wear? Overalls? Not too much if the character. Does that seem a bit forced? See what it looks like if she is wearing overalls. Really tell in this angle. Buttons maybe. And a big bucket. Um, well, I think that's enough detail for this sketch. I don't think I'm going to go too deep into making it more detailed than this. We'll add some maybe tonal work. Try just to keep it quick here. It's just going to be, you know, a fill just to show her body, and then light and shadows. Nothing too detailed. Just keeping things simple right now. Don't need to get into too much detail. So, I was done with the shadows here, and light quick and easy. The highlights. Again, this is just to give a bit more depth to the character. And for this one, it's I think it's looking all right. Um, Actually, I do probably wash it, wash effects. I think just doing the highlights wasn't enough to satisfy me, so I do want to do some bring parts up. Actually, got quite a bit done in like half an hour. So, okay, I'll turn that again. Add a shadow separate. I think lately I've been using some kind of forest type of textures for shadow. Depending on some leaves. Yeah, so that's another look of this character. Um, Maybe there's one more I kind of like to. I'm going to group all these together. And I don't know, which other one should I be working on? Hmm, uh, maybe this one for fun. This middle one here. Here we go, made a new layer of it. I'm going to size her. And top this one. Maybe I will go for my sure, I could run black. Was the Slack window popping up? No. I have another 15 minutes on this, so I'm going to quickly just see if I can come up with this version of her. I see her body type's a bit different. Her arms are still the old version of smaller hands but bigger forearms. Um, Here she also has kind of like antennae as a way to indicate that she can send those signals. Uh, so yeah, so I'm gonna try and work out and see what this one kind of looks like. This one retains her apron, um, but loses the cape. So let me see what this one looks like. Man, working with ink and brush can be a little unforgiving for line work. I don't think I have as much smoothing on this brush. I do want her wearing kind of man, I already don't like the way this one's turning out. I don't want her hair to work. How is this looking for? And while it's pretty easy just to do this kind of front view and kind of haphazardly just draw her, one thing I do have to be aware of is that this is going to be turned into a 3D model of a character. So I gotta make sure that anything that I do is kind of makes sense when it's turned into an actual figure. Like, can an arm be here and not look like it's not attached to anything else? Like, if you look at the sketch in the background, her arm's going like this right now. And unless her shoulder joint is up here, might not make sense, especially if it's turned into, a turnaround view, because I'm going to have to do turnaround views for each of these uh, for the modeler. I gotta wonder like, okay, where is her arm joint, and does that align to anything at all? Does it look like what a real character is even possible? So gotta be aware of those type of things. But maybe not at this stage, only because I'm still messing around. So here I brought back her apron. Uh, here her her shoulders are a bit more pinched, um, less wide than older versions. Her arms look like this. Maybe I'd want to keep her boots on this one, this figure too. Uh, do like that idea of like her wearing really big, heavy boots. Just as a little bit of detail to her character, as in like she is this prepared woman, ready to hike out there in the world, not caring about the environments. It is damn prepared for it. Do I give her gloves? Yeah, I'll give her gloves back. And when I say gloves, all it means is a couple lines in order to make it look like they're gloves. Oh, she's ready for anything. She is ready. Should have done her arms a little, so she's like, knuckles in on her waist. But I did a bad job with her right hand there, but I'm not going to care. Not going to care too much. shoulder straps. As in this version, forgot to put her antennae type things. Anyways, she does have a big giant backpack. I want to make a backpack comically large on her, so I reference this illustration. It is roughly, bigger than her, so I'm probably gonna do the same thing. Make her bag in this version kind of overpowering her. It's just a giant pack she has. I attached the idea that like a woven basket rather than just some kind of backpack. Let's put that in. Does she have this backpack? I bought a bunch of leaves and sticks. Anything kind of look like she's kind of gleaned it from boss that she's already taken care of. And it's already 4 o'clock. I'll probably stop in like 5 minutes or so, so I'll just finish this last illustration off. Some quick leaves going in and out of her bag. Some sticks. Some more bushes. Put some berries on it. Right at the bottom layer. And her hand is quite goofy. One last thing I'm going to do is edit her hand so it really just sits on her hip. Do a good job of that either. So yeah, 1 hour is up. I think this is a very simple sketch. I think again, not everything really works out only okay with this illustration. But what I can glean from it is that I do like the idea of her maintaining that giant uh, bag on the back versus like prior illustration, which did look great but didn't have that bag present. I think it adds enough to her as a character that it's worth maintaining, regardless of whether, of her shape. I think it's just something, a detail about her that just kind of adds enough to make it a permanent fixture on the character. But again, little by little, finding out more about what she should be and who she is, and I think, yeah, it's a decision I guess I'm sticking with, even if I do like the first illustration a bit more better. But yeah, thanks again for joining me, everyone, uh, on another Friday afternoon concept art session. If you have any questions, feel free to type in next time. It's been great, and hope to see you guys next week. All right, thanks again. Bye.